Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. This week on the Royal Corner, Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, returns to the Royal Courts of Justice to appeal the decision of the Ravitch Committee to downgrade his security. Also in the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, launches new podcast Confessions of a Female Founder, which in the Apple Business Podcast category has it at number 1 in the USA, Canada, the UK and Australia. Sophie, I Want to Be Harry's sidekick Chandauka, this week sees many inconsistencies unraveling in her story. Also in the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner, King Charles and side salad turned Queen Camilla visit Italy and the ailing pontiff, with Charles and the pontiff appearing to share stark similarities regarding their wellness. Also, there's Sycophant of the Week, with Kate's new hair highlights going unnoticed, along with her beauty regime and her carefully crafted gearing up to be queen. And interestingly, William hires new lawyers, Meghan and Rhea, the same lawyers that represented his mother in divorce proceedings against his father. Interesting. All this and more on the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. Right, let's jump in, shall we, darlings? Oh, before we jump in, thank you so much to everybody who's listened to the podcast and subscribed. Can you know what? I've got 948 subscribers. Isn't that fantastic? I'm trying to get to 1,000 and then 2,000, but I've got to get to 1,000 first. So please, if you can, become the 951st or the 960th or the 980th. Thank you to everyone who's been looking at my shorts and commenting as well. The Royal Corner is a feature of my Friday night political talk show called The Headley Highlight Show, which is aired every Friday night live on X, which was previously Twitter. Keep on subscribing so you get the notifications when I can drop directly into your DMs, darling. Also visit my website at deniseheadley.com, where you can buy me free wings and chips and a Miranda, or you can buy me from my local Caribbean shop, rice, peas, chicken and oxtail, because I like all them little mixtures in there. Salad, coleslaw, a drink, and even a cake. Don't forget this is a splendiferous production, because it's splendid and different, just like me and like all of you, darlings. Right, let's jump into the show. Enough blabbering, woman. Okay, first story. Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, returns to the UK to appeal the Ravitch Committee decision to downgrade his security. The Duke of Sussex appeared at the London Court of Appeal on the 8th of April, and his lawyers argued that the decision to remove Harry's security deviated from standard procedure. Now, before I just give you some of the arguments, I just want to give you some of the context. When Harry and Meghan said they were no longer going to be working royals, they felt that the basis of that was that the institution was not protecting them. That's a very important point to remember. Let's not forget that what was happening with Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, she had mental health issues. She was considering ending her life. There was she lost her child and she wasn't getting the support that she needed. So Harry decided to make that move. And as a consequence of that, his security was downgraded on the basis that it needed to be bespoke because those circumstances hadn't arisen before. Now, what Harry's lawyer argued was that the committee that looked at that decision failed to use proper procedures. Harry's legal team, headed up by Shahid Fatima QC, said that the decision was an unlawful deviation away from standard procedure. She said that Ravitch, which is the committee that looks at security, departed from its required procedures by not commissioning a risk assessment for Harry in February in 2020 when they made the decision, because the decision was made at Buckingham Palace, because the decision was made in 2020, not at a formal meeting of the Ravitch Committee, but at Buckingham Palace. And his lawyer argued that this deviated away from standard procedure and it was unlawful. She argued around the terms of reference of the Ravitch Committee. I should have told you what the Ravitch Committee is. I'll tell you in a minute. Hang on, let me get the proper definition. So I'm reading from its terms of reference from the UK government website. Ravitch is the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, and its role is to exercise executive authority for national policy for protection of royalty and VIPs. So effectively, it looks after royal security and also the security of very important people. And his lawyer said that they deviated from lawful procedure when they made the decision to give Harry a bespoke security arrangement. Fatima also argued that Harry was the subject of discriminatory treatment and he was singled out in an unjustified and inferior way, receiving a fundamentally different and fundamentally inferior form of protection under the bespoke process which didn't apply to anybody else. So basically he was singled out. His lawyer also said that living abroad and visiting from time to time did not invalidate the need for a proper risk assessment when he was in the UK. Let's not forget that Princess Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, was subject to death threats. And she also said, unsurprisingly, that the judiciary, a part of the establishment, made a mistake, misinterpreting the terms of reference of the Ravitch Committee and concluding that Harry was excluded from their risk assessment board requirements, given that he was living abroad. Now, the reason that this is important is because the Home Office argued that Harry had no grounds for effectively appealing the decision. They argued it was proportionate and reasoned, and that a bespoke model was superior as opposed to, as she argued, being singled out. And they argued that a risk assessment would have been inappropriate and uninformative. They also argued that security was already provided where needed, and in the future it would be determined as appropriate, that the current process treats Harry as exceptional. So to me, this then goes to the Fatima's point that he was treated in an exceptional manner, which therefore he was singled out for special treatment effectively, making it unlawful. But this is what's happening. This is a 2-day hearing, and the courts, should I say, the judges have not given a ruling as to what's going to happen. So I think it's a case in point to keep a watchful brief on. But in my heart of hearts, I hope that Harry doesn't bring his wife here or his children here, because I think they would not be safe. And as far as I'm concerned, there's too many incels in this country where people be plotting to do pure badness. So you know what? Let them come via Zoom, okay? Wave to them via Zoom and hide the children's faces. How about that? Okay, let's jump straight over to Meghan's podcast this week. So Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, launches her new podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, and it jumps in on the Apple business category list, and it's number 1 in the USA, Canada, and also Australia. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, launched her new podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, on the 8th of April 2025. And in the initial episode, she spoke to the founder, Whitney Wolfe Herd, who's the founder of Bumble, and I think she's also the co-founder of Tinder. They sat down and had a frank conversation where they talked about issues, especially around pregnancy, and Meghan revealed that she had preeclampsia, which a lot of people somehow didn't feel, when they were writing about her and talking about it, they downplayed her health issues, especially around the time when she had that because of all of the media attention on her and her family. The really excellent news, and I was really happy to see, was that the podcast had already secured a strong position on Apple. Like when I was looking at some of the headlines in the UK, the Telegraph and the Times called it vapid and inane. You know what? There is this constant mocking of the Duchess all the time because they're always trying to tear down her ability to be now a lifestyle a guru. Because that's what she's doing. She's becoming a lifestyle guru because she's also going to be launching her homeware set, and she's launching other products in her product line. So every single conversation you hear about her is one where if you're listening to anybody who invariably is white, oh God, they have to be white most of the times. They're usually male, mostly females, because the vast majority of white women in positions of power, those gatekeepers, they absolutely hate Meghan, and they're always trying to do something to mock her, to tear her down. And that's why you heard lots and lots of people criticizing it. However, the point is this: you can criticize all that you like, because at the end of the day, my girl still is topping the charts, okay? And that's where she is with the podcast. All this week, people are making her pasta. Oh my God, yes. Let me just give you a quick confessions of a broadcaster. It was my birthday last week and my sister came over and she made the Meghan cake, the one with the lemon buttercream, and it was fantastic. It was really tasty. She layered it and everything. So I just want to say, I have experienced the Meghan with as ever love with Meghan, and my sister made jam. And this is the really important thing. Inspiring creativity, crafting, cooking, homemaking. These are the things that traditionally are the domain of white women in media spaces. And Meghan is doing it. Meghan is in that space and the detractors cannot stand it. So like I said, she launched her podcast. People were raving about it. She launched her pasta dishes. She launched her products. People are inspired by her. So that's the reason why she is so derided, because, this whole idea of these, her husband loving and supporting her. How many of those dissenters would just love to have someone like that in their corner? But they don't. That's why they're so embittered. Anyway, so that's hurry up, Dee. Anyway, so that's that. As ever, launches her new podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, and it went in the business category at Apple in the USA at #1. More power to you, my girl. Right. Sophie, I would like to be Harry's side chick Chandauka. Her inconsistencies in her story appear to be unraveling this week. Recently, Miss Chandauka made several statements regarding her interactions with Prince Harry and the charity's internal dynamics. Her narrative seemed to evolve over time. My girl this week boiled down to low gravy. Initially, Miss Chandauka accused the prince of orchestrating a campaign of harassment and bullying at scale. She alleged that there was a toxic brand which drove donors away when Harry left for his new life in America. None of these allegations, of course, were substantiated by Miss Chandauka, with the support of Trevor Phillips, who helped her parrot palace lies on a national platform. She also went on to say that that Meghan and the Sussex machine had taken over the event. And it now turns out she actually invited Meghan. And because Meghan Duchess of Sussex didn't want to be paraded around with her like something on a mantelpiece, a shop piece that you can just stick in the window so that you can generate clicks and likes on, she then started with her other statements. And her allegations of misogyny and sexism were countered, which Mr. Trevor Phillips did not provide any opportunity for them to have a counter argument, because he just gave her a platform to parrot whatever she wanted to. Yeah, they were countered because they argued that there was mismanagement, bullying, and there were resignations and internal conflict caused by Miss Chandauka. And as a consequence of that, have you noticed now that the Charity Commission's involved, the hate machine has really, really calmed down? And all these revelations are coming out about Miss Chandauka and her intentions. So she spent the week with her tongue between her teeth. She should have kept her breath to cool her porridge in the beginning, instead of opening your face and absolutely causing contention unnecessarily, just because you couldn't be up close and personal with the Sussexes and the prince. Right, over to the indolent queen known as Kate. This week, there were a plethora. Oh no, I forgot about, I got to do Charles and Camilla in Italy. So basically, the King Charles and the side salad went to Italy. They saw some monuments, saw some planes flying over, and they also went to see the pontiff. And I was quite, taken regarding the resemblance between the pontiff and the king. They both don't look too good. Irrespective of the headlines of them talking about him being jovial, virile and fit, okay? Every picture you take of him, he really needs a lot of foundation because he's looking pale and stale. Right, Kate. Because as ever is launching her jams, okay? Everything sold out last week, like I said. They're now trying to bring stories every week about the royal family's fashion sense and their sense of style, because what's happening is Meghan is crafting herself as a lifestyle style guru. And watch it and mark my words. Listen to some of my other work. There's going to be the oven gloves. There's going to be more. There's going to be a whole range of kitchen utensils, monarchy destroying glassware, pillowware, sheets, dog accessories, And I'm waiting for the restaurants, because the restaurants are going to touch down. Trust and believe me, the restaurants are coming. And in response to the fact that they want to crush, they want to, pulverize the couple, irrespective of what they're doing, they're always trying to exalt Kate. So here we have a series of articles. And what I'm going to do is, this week, there is a collection. Okay, this week there's real jockeying for the position of sycophant of the week, and I've got a collection of sycophants. So they're all going to share this week's sycophant of the week as they sit there oozing their obsequious, glorifying praise on the work-shy queen in waiting. So first on the podium for sycophant of the week, before I jump to that, I forgot something. Okay. Queen Camilla, right, I'm going to jump back to sycophant of the week in a minute, but Queen Camilla, you know what? She went out there on her tour with a brooch worth £10 million that she wore. And you know what I thought to myself? You're standing last week at a charity for women who have experienced violence, okay? And you're pontificating about protecting children, and you're walking around with jewelry on your person as an accessory worth £10 million. You could give them the clasp and they could work for a year. Let alone if you gave them one of the stones in it. That will fund that program for maybe 4 years. The hypocrisy of these people is sickening. Right. Sycophant of the week, darling. Right. Bursting through the furlong in position number 1 for sycophant of the week is oh God, get it right, D. Achimpong Hagen. Do it again. Afua Achimpong Hagen. And you know the name Achimpong? I think she's Ghanaian. And you know what makes it worse? That you think she'd have certain understanding. But, if sense was common, everyone would have it. So Miss Achimpong Hagen tells US Weekly that Kate is likely to take on more public engagements alongside William, representing the monarchy on state visits. Really, she's not been on any of the activities he's been on recently. And what makes you an authority on what she's going to be doing? According to Miss Achimpong Hagen, she will be spending significant amounts of time playing a crucial role in shaping the monarchy's relationship with the public. Who in the public thinks that Kate does anything of value anyway? And then she says she's going to be the most influential queen consort in modern history. I'm not sure what Miss Achimpong Hagen is basing any of this on outside of her opinion. And as far as I can see, this article in the Cosmopolitan where she's quoted, another puff article, just like a cream horn, empty inside and just got sugar on the front. But when you bite it, the whole thing is a disappointment. So Miss Afia Achimpong Hagen gets this week's sycophant of the week, which she shares with others. To Miss Achimpong Hagen, this goes out to you. Well done. Well done. Miss Hagen also shares the podium this week with Hallow's royal commentator, Laura Sutcliffe. Laura's obsequious headline is Princess Kate debuts a holiday hair transformation, and it went under the radar. Of course it went under the radar. Unless she shaved her head and it was pink, no one was noticing anything. Miss Sutcliffe writes, the raw hair looked lighter after her holiday. The Princess of Wales and her long mane of hair are the stuff dreams are made of. Whose dreams? Not my dreams. Women everywhere are in awe of her beautiful head of thick, full chestnut hair. So this article now is going to give you at least the best part of 5 paragraphs talking about Kate's hair. Last month, we noticed that there was a change when she went to watch the rugby because she was busy watching the rugby. And the momentous activity that this article is about is that her hair had gentle highlights. She goes on to write that when she was 43 in January of this year, she released a stunning portrait of a celebration of her. She was super chic and she was sporting a classic outfit with skinny jeans, a white shirt, a black blazer and a statement scarf. That scarf looks like a gingham, a gingham tablecloth. And if you don't know about gingham, look, just Google it, yeah? It's a gingham thing she got on. But now she's sporting what's called a Hollywood wave. Yes. A Hollywood wave. The article then goes on to tell you what you need also to achieve this Hollywood wave. I don't think this applies to African hair, no, just European hair, which everyone is envious of, because don't forget in the top of the article, she told us how everyone is envious of her hair. This article was also coupled with another article talking about her beauty regime. When she gets up in the morning, she splashes her face with water. She gives herself a few minutes of calm and tranquility and then applies a very natural look, like anyone was interested in her makeup technique. So basically, we had a number of articles about her this week, her fashion sense, her beauty regime, and no one was interested in none of the above anyway. So the two winners this week for Sycophant of the Week are Afua Achimpong Hagen. That's for you, Afua. And also Laura Sutcliffe of Hello Magazine, beauty and fashion editor. You also can share the podium this week with Miss Achimpong Hagen as Sycophant of the Week. To Afua and Laura, Sycophants of the Week. Thank you so much, ladies. You deserve it. You deserve it. Thank you. Once again, no, thanking you. And finally, in the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner, Prince William hires Mishcon and Rhea, the same firm that represented his mother in divorce proceedings against his father. The way the papers reported this is like it's a major break from his father because he's not using the same firm of lawyers as his dad used. Prince William has reportedly hired his late mother, Princess Diana's divorce lawyers in an unexpected move that shocked the palace. Everything they do is always reported in such dramatic terms. After months of speculation about divorce rumours, the Prince William and Kate Middleton, in this unexpected move, Prince William has sent shockwaves around the world. Nobody is that bothered about which lawyer he hires. You know, I don't think they're worried in Haiti or in the Congo that Prince William has hired a different lawyer, or they're even bothered in Bermondsey or Blackburn. You know, if he was actually sorting out the homelessness like he said he was going to do, then would be, you know, that would send shockwaves. But this is just a personal matter. You're just choosing a different lawyer. So what? According to the article, he is instructing the London-based firm which famously represented Princess Diana in her 1996 divorce from Prince Charles to act on behalf of him and his family. So does this mean he's getting divorced? Because as far as I'm concerned, that whole relationship is vanilla, yeah? That is lavender. Personally, I don't think Kate will ever agree to a public divorce because she wants to be queen. And I wouldn't be letting anyone, I don't think she's going to let any side chick with a long neck come in and take her place when she's worked so hard for it. Rose Hambry. She's not going to do a Camilla. That's not happening, yeah? She's not moving over. A source, and we know what the usefulness of those are, told Richard Eden of the Daily Fail, William wanted to strike out on his own and he wants to be his own man. If he had any gumption, yeah, he'd do something about the country's problem and stop running around pretending to be a statesman when no one's listening to what you're saying or interested in what you're doing. So that's it in this week's Headley Highlights Royal Corner. In summary, Prince Harry came back to the UK to fight the appeal for the revocation of his security. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, launched as ever as part of the As Ever brand. She launched a new podcast. It's gone in at #1 on the business section on Apple. Sophie, I Can't Tell the Truth, Chandauka, lies unravelled this week and she boiled down to low gravy. No one's talking about her. Charles and the side salad went to Italy and they saw the pontiff. He doesn't look good at all. We had the Sycophants of the week, Afua Achimpong Hagen and Laura Sutcliffe, as they ooze reverence over Kate's hair and her ascension to the Queen, as well as her beauty regime that doesn't seem to be bearing any particular fruit. And finally, then there was William hiring new divorce lawyers, because I think they'll be doing the divorce in private and just turning up in public, keeping the show alive. So that's it, darlings. I do hope you enjoyed this week's Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. Please make a donation. God, it's long this week. Get me wings, chips and a Miranda at my website, deniseheadley.com. Jump back next week, like and share. Don't forget to subscribe so I'll be delivered directly into your inbox, darling. How beautiful is that? And see you next week. And cut. Thanks for listening too. Bye.